Hello everyone, welcome to Indic Roots, a channel jointly hosted by Prasaran Internet Radio and Prasad Prakashan, Pune. We have with us today an esteemed guest, Dr. Vina Mushrif Tripathi. She is an associate professor at the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Deccan College, Postgraduate and Research Institute, Pune. She works on the excavated human skeletal remains, which includes biological age estimation, sex determination, metric, and morphological analysis. She also tries to identify diseases and its implication on the human society. She has worked on more than 25 sites ranging from various cultural periods. She has published 4 books and around 50 research papers in national and international journals. Currently, she has National Geographic Research Project on hand, where she is working on the skeletal findings from cave. The name is Yogma, Karbu district, Kargil. I hope the name is correct, ma'am. Yes. Welcome to the show, Dr. Vina.
Yes. Thank you so very much.
Your work is indeed overwhelming, and our guests would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, thank you for actually calling me for this interview. This is my actually first experience, so I hope it will be good.
Absolutely, it will be. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. So, should we begin?
Yes, please.
To begin with, could you explain to our listeners what exactly is anthropology and how is it connected? To begin with, could you explain to our listeners what exactly is anthropology and how is it connected to archaeology?
Okay. So anthropology is the subject which is known as a holistic science. Holistic means everything about humans. Everything, like whether it is a political history, whether it's a social history, whether it's a cultural history, whether it's a biology of the human, whatever is related to human-centric approach, what is this known as human, anything and everything related to the humans are part and parcel of anthropology. And so archaeology is a part of anthropology.
I see. Okay.
So archaeology, which studies the past culture, again it's about the human, past humans, past culture, which is, so that way they are interrelated with each other. They are dependent on each other in a way, because archaeology requires certain methodology from anthropology, and anthropology also requires certain to understand the past population, the archaeology. So that is how they are related to each other, and they complement each other in a way.
Okay, yeah. That's very interesting. My next question is about your professional journey. I mean, this is a very different area and field which is less known. So, I mean, what area of anthropology or archaeology do you specialize in?
So, when I talk about my professional journey, like I did my master's in archaeology, ancient Indian history, culture and archaeology, and then while studying for my master's, I encountered this subject called osteoarchaeology, or you can call it in today's terms as a biological anthropology, which means the study of human skeletal remains which are being excavated from different archaeological excavations. So whatever we get human remains from various cultural phases or from various location geographical, irrespective of whether they are in Kashmir or they are in Kanyakumari or whether from Gujarat to say in Nagaland. So that, like anywhere in at any culture, like we start getting human skeletal remains from 10,000 BP, like around that time. The exact like Mesolithic population means where they were using stone tools. Okay. So from there till medieval, like we have skeletal remains till medieval. So various phases between that, and how they were burying their dead, and how they were treating their dead, and that is, and the anthropological aspect about it, their biological aspect about it is the part of my study.
Interesting. And it must be very vast, right? I'll say this again. This is very interesting and it's very vast and covers a lot of mass of land, I think.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So every field has its tools and techniques, right? So what kind of methodologies or research approaches do you typically use for your work?
So it's like a bit of a detective work basically. Like when you are having, you might have seen many this police investigations where you have the body and you have to try to find out who that person was. Okay, who was that person, whether it's a male or whether it's a female or whether it was a young one or whether it was an old person or something. So trying to identify that particular individual. So same thing what we do in archaeology.
Okay.
So most of our methodology is from the forensic anthropology. Forensic means as I told you, like detective, like when you do this using this knowledge for the law purpose, okay, to following the law, to kind of tell who is the victim basically. Here we are not calling them as a victim because we don't know exactly who that person was and how that person died, but we can sometimes tell about it. But what is the biological age of that skeleton, or the which is we have found in the burial, or what is the sex of that individual, whether it's a male, female, what is the morphological patterns, like we are having, it is known as a phenotypic, means different population has a different measurement. So little bit, not exactly complete diverse, but little bit differences are there. So we try to identify those differences, what is the similarity, and as well as trying to identify different pathologies or diseases or kind of anomalies that person have experienced during his or her lifetime. So these are the certain things, and there are, so we borrowed many things from the forensic anthropology point of view. So we use them, and these are the standardized methodologies, like they have been properly maintained, the standards for interpretation. So not just, and it is very interesting, we are not just concerned about the biological aspect of the skeleton, but what are the cultural aspect behind it. For example, whether they are a single burial, whether they are multiple burials, whether it's a young child, whether it's a old individual, so how they are been buried. And if you see in antiquities, you get burial goods, means along with the skeleton, there are certain potteries been placed, certain ornaments are been placed, certain things are been placed. So we try to identify what is the connection between these cultural artifacts, artifacts with the skeleton. So like for example, females, if we see, so so if there are like mirrors or something like earrings or a bangle, shell bangle, so we say probably this individual was a female, probably. So all those things that interlinked to understand the person within that grave.
I see. Okay, so it's not about only the grave or the skeleton, it's the surrounding also. So you understand the whole ecosystem, I think.
Yes.
Related to the burial or the skeleton.
So not just how they are laying, like sometimes they fold their legs, sometimes they are tilted, there are certain times they are been, the face is been kept in, like if you see in the Muslim graves, like they are been, the heads are been kept towards the Makkah. So similarly, so they follow, certain societies have a different types, patterns of burying the dead. So all those things can be recorded in the site and can be understood by that, how those person was laid down.
This is really interesting, but I'm really getting curious to know, how did you enter this field?
Okay, so when I was doing this, my master's, so before masters actually, I was very much interested to all these detective stories and all the, what happened, who did that, who died, like a lot of questions, the novels which had. So that kind of triggered that interest into studying the archaeology. And when I was doing my bachelor's, during that time, one of my teacher also, she said that if you are interested to study something about old and ancient and these kind of things, you can go to Deccan College for the study. So there I went, and then when I saw the anthropology lab in Deccan College, I was like awestruck with that.
Okay.
Like hanging skeleton, it is sounds bizarre for many people, but it was kind of a thing. Was really interested me to to start my career.
Yes.
So
yes, I think you got connected with that field so easily.
yes.
Wow, that's interesting. That's very nice. So, talking about diseases and history, so what kind of diseases can be identified through these archaeological remains? That's always, there is a lot of talk about it, right? Or particularly in the Indian context. So, can you share some insights and can you give us some examples?
Okay. So from archaeological context, we can identify many diseases like for example, traumas, different types of traumas or fractures, whether they are healed or unhealed fractures, the growth related problems like infection disease and the malnourishment, undernourishment and other things. Then we can identify certain bone growth, like whether it's a cancerous or whether it's a non-cancerous bone growth. So different types of pathologies can be identified, like on teeth. Like we say that we are having caries infection, so that also is can be identified on the teeth of mandible or maxilla or in archaeological context. And they give they open a small window of the lifestyle of that particular population from which these individuals are coming from. So I will give a very interesting example. Like when I say that the malnourishment and infection disease. Okay, so malnourishment and infection, they are related to each other. So if you are malnourished, you can easily fall in ill. Okay. And if you are ill, so whatever you eat, it will not get digested by your system. So one leads to other. So it is basically they are having kind of, we say always, a synergetic relationship, one leading to other. Now why it is so important? If we see today's also the World Health Organization, that so what we see here, that today also there is an infant mortality rate is high in India or the underdeveloped countries, or maternal mortality rate. So why the archaeology is important? Because we see the same thing in the archaeological population as well. There is one site called Inamgaon, which is a Deccan Chalcolithic site. Chalcolithic means when they were using copper and lithic technology, which is somewhere around 3000 BC. Means from today, if you say, it is 5000 years old. So there what we find around 66% of the population, skeletal population, belongs to the children, not infant, but within that children there are infants, there are stillborns, there are, so the children category. So the who studied those skeletal remains, they were having a big question about it, why there are so many young skeletons in the archaeological context. So how to explain that, isn't it? Like why there are so many skeletons? So to understand that problem, we have to see the today's population or the village population. What it says that, that it is saying that the women are facing a nutritional crisis actually. What we see today. Like early marriages. I don't say that time we call it as a marriage, but early marriage, early pregnancy and repetitive pregnancies. So one after the other, the woman is producing the child. So from 14 to 25, after every 1.5 years, the woman is continuously producing babies. So there is a lot of nutritional stress on that woman, as well as the malnourished mother will produce malnourished children. Malnourished child will become malnourished adult. That malnourished adult will give a birth to the malnourished child. So it's a vicious circle. It goes on and on. There is no stoppage in between. So in Marathi we have this kind of, so we say to the newlywed that a Ashtaputra Saubhagyavati Bhava.
Right.
So basically, it's a curse in a way, because
okay.
when you are married, at least produce 8 children. Out of that 8 children, 2 will reach to the adulthood to give a a further child,
Yeah.
bear a further child.
Yeah.
So in that, it is accepted that in between there are many children
Yeah.
will die. So that way, at the same time, when you are malnourished, when you are not having, then the children will have diarrhea. Children will go through lot of infections, lot of things. So what are the reasons behind it? So just seeing skeleton does not give us a understanding, but trying to identify, understand the cultural norms behind it. What is how the society is. So we always say the children health is an indicator of stability of the society.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
if the child is nourished, then obviously the society or culture is stable.
Okay, this is a very telling example of what you have told us. Thank you very much for that. So how do these ancient diseases help us understand past populations? So you have partially, I think,
Yes.
explained about that. And I think we should skip this, right?
No, we have so many things. you
Okay.
can further. Can you further explain?
I will. I'll rephrase this. Yeah. Okay. So you have partially described. I'll take this again. Yes. So you are telling us about the diseases and how it helps to understand past populations. So please tell us more fascinating examples that reveal something unexpected.
Okay, so this is very interesting example which I was taught by my my teacher, Professor Walimbe. He guided me with my this journey, everything. So he worked on one skeletal remains from. There is one site called S. Pappinayakanpatti. It's very tongue twisting name,
Right.
but S. Pappinayakanpatti from Tamil Nadu, and it had a chopping mark on the skull. Okay, some part of the skull was chopped off. Okay, and he was around 50-year-old male individual, and what happened is, so when he discussed this particular case, so he said me that how we can interpret it. So it is all based how you understand the society. The interpretation also is very you have to look into that.
Right.
So one way to is that, okay, this person died because of the trauma, kind of, somebody chopped its head and other thing, and then that is why the person died. But another way is we can interpret is that that person showed some signs of recovery as in the form of secondary bone formation. So that is how actually we can identify whether when the bone is healing, basically what happens is bone cells regrow. Regrow, and then the fracture fuses. So if it is the breakage in between the bone, then once they come close, it's a living organ. Bone is a living organ. So they start kind of filling the gap, and that is how our fractured bones heal.
I see.
Okay. So similarly, so in that context, we saw that some secondary bone formation is coming up. So which shows that such a gravely injured person could survive at least 2 months or 3 months after the such injury, which means the medical knowledge of that particular population was such that they kept this individual alive for some time. And then the second explanation, the ties between the social group, like such an injured old individual person was kept alive, so he must have been given food, he must have given some care and everything. Okay, so which means there is a social bonding between the population, between that group. So how you interpret, how it is very easy that the person died because of the trauma, but it was not only the evidence of trauma, but it was also the evidence of some regrowth or some kind of a taking care of, some kind of a medical knowledge. So you have to include all these aspects So that person died because of the secondary infection and not because of the trauma.
Oh, okay. So this one example led you to understand many things like social structure at that time, also the medical facilities or knowledge, whatever was available at that time. This is very fascinating.
So there are several these kind of evidences, like we saw properly healed traumas, properly healed like breakage in the hand. So we see. So which means, so generally what happens, as I told you, like the bone regrowth. Okay. So what happens is, like now the doctor, what they do, they put that together, they put and make it immobilize using the plaster. So earlier it was not the case. So what they did was, they might have kept some kind of a plank, wooden plank, and tie that thing together, and so that it will become immobilized. So some kind of a remedies were used. Interestingly, not from the Indian context, but from Neanderthal, tartar, like the foods which got stuck. From there, they could identify some medical herbs. So they were eating probably some kind of a medicine in the form of plant or something to cure themselves. So these, not just from India, but if you see from various regions, so you can identify these facts or these small incidences of the of that population.
Yes, this is really nice. So like India is home to many rich archaeological sites. We are all aware of that. So which sites in your view offer the most compelling anthropological insights?
It is very tricky question actually, because India has since 1947. Before that, before the partition, the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, it was excavated in 1920s. Their material is still there in Anthropological Survey of India. That is okay. After the independence, we excavated many sites. There are around 300 sites which have produced or which have given the evidence of human skeletal remains. But unfortunate is that out of 300 sites, hardly 50, I'm giving a overestimation, hardly 50, they are being studied anthropologically. So there are huge number of sites which are not yet been studied. So they are just kept in some repositories or some places where they are either inaccessible or they have lost the context from which they have found. But in this, Deccan College has played a very important role to keeping the material in a proper context. And what we see, there are like sites like Inamgaon, Nevasa, Kauthe, near the Pune actually, and these are the sites. Or there are certain sites like Farmana, or there are sites like some from northern part of India. So there we are finding a lot of skill. And now currently I have been working on some sites from Tamil Nadu, where they have excavated, the site name is Keladi, which is, I think so many of the people are aware of it. A lot of archaeological investigations are going on in Tamil Nadu. So Keladi is a kind of a key site out there. So the burials from there we have been studying. So that is a very interesting site. So when we put all these things together, and if we get a chance to work on some of more skeleton, it will be very interesting to see the various population at various pockets of India. So they will be interesting to study. Currently, I am been working on one site called Yogma Karbu, which you have mentioned in the, which was funded by National Geographic. So one of my PhD students, she is working on the material, skeletal material. It is one of the very interesting site. Somewhere around 600 AD that particular site belongs to. So around 1400 years old. So so in that we have found lot of skeletons. Like it's a commingled, like it's mixed. They are not proper burial as per se. They are mixed burials, so mixed bones. So So we are trying to understand not just the population or the skeletal population, what was the reason why they are there. So that is a very interesting question. It is not the skeletal material as per se, but why they end up being there in that cave in Yogma, Karbu. So we are trying various theories about it.
Okay.
So what are the theories? Whether they are they were just a kind of a burial practice of that particular population, like they are just keeping the bodies in the cave after their death, or whether they were killed by someone, or whether they have been. So we are trying to identify these kind of reasons behind it.
Okay.
So that is very interesting for us. Similarly, we had found one site called Roopkund, which was a glacial lake, basically in Uttarakhand, where there is a frozen lake, and around the periphery of the lake there are a lot of skeletons there. We are assuming there are 400 plus, but we don't know exactly, because most of the time the lake is been kind of covered with ice. Ice.
Yeah.
Okay, so only 2 months in a year, 2 to 4 months, the ice melts, and then the skeleton get exposed. So we worked on it, and we try to identify again the same thing. What was the reason behind it? Whether it was a ritualistic sacrifice, whether it was an army, whether it was devotees which were trying to pass through that region. So what are the reasons behind it? So it is also very interesting site actually. Many sites are there in India. If I talk, there will be like...
I think we can go on for hours together, right? Because this Roopkund is quite famous, and there are a lot of people talking about it also.
Yes.
Right. Great. So, ॲड करायचं आहे का? फायनल घेऊ प्रश्न.
किती वेळ वाजले? किती वेळ झाला?
आपल्याला अर्धा तास झाला. 35 मिनिट्स झाले.
35 मिनिट्स झाले.
सो रूपकुंड बद्दल आयदर बोलता येईल किंवा अजून एखादी साईट घेता येईल.
हां, आपल्या 53 मिनिट्स करायचं ना. 50 मिनिट्स ना.
हां. Talking about this Roopkund, I mean, we are all curious, what goes on there. Like you mentioned glaciers, and then suddenly the skeletons appear. So how do you approach this work of archaeology? Or anthropology? How do you look at it, or what is the process involved? Can you tell us about it?
So when we see the skeletal remains, first of all, like in the excavation, if there are burial sites, we are sure that we are going to deal some or the other day of the skeleton. But generally, in many of the archaeological sites, we see it's like a chance discovery. So as in archaeology, I always say that you will get pottery, you will get animal bones, you will get antiquity, but human skeletal findings are extremely rare in a way. So we do not get. So many archaeologists are not ready for the skeletal material there, human skeleton. So when they find, so they try to, the first thing is to kind of secure the area, kind of a thing, and then start slowly exposing the skeleton. So that takes almost one entire day, 1 or 2 days max. So slowly, you cannot just start picking up the bones. So basically, when you find, it's like a very exciting when you see the skeleton. So you are very excited about how that skeleton, because not necessarily they have been buried it in proper anatomical. Sometimes there are, as I told you earlier, like they are tilted, they are folded hands, folded legs. Sometimes you get skeleton in sitting posture as well. Very rarely in Indian context. Hardly there are 4 to 5 skeletons which have been found in the sitting posture.
I see.
Most of them are lying on the back. So there is a variation, obviously. So first you expose that completely, and then you take photos, because photos are very important. Once you lift the skeleton out of the ground, or any bone for that matter, you lose the context, primary context. So the best thing is to before you lift, we say it's a destructive archaeology.
Acha.
Because in archaeology, we destruct or disturb
Right.
every context of it. That is the thing about archaeology.
Correct.
We have to disturb.
Yes.
Then only it becomes archaeology.
Otherwise, you won't be able to research.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to move that. So before moving it, you have to take photos, you have to do the graph, you have to do proper recording of everything, whatever is there. As I told you earlier, it's not just the skeleton. What are the things buried along with it? What are the cultural findings you are getting? How the hands are being tied, whether they are tied, their feet are being tied. Sometimes the feet are being tied.
Acha,
Okay. Sometimes you get evidences of grass being laid on the grave. Okay, to just keep the individual warm or whatever their beliefs are.
Okay.
So what are the things we try to identify, that we have to try to record everything, and then the next thing is when you start taking out the skeleton. So it takes a lot of time, lot of efforts to remove the skeleton from the grave.
Okay.
And then not just that particular grave. So if you are having a grave next to it, what is the relationship between it? I will tell you a very good example about it. In one site, the excavator had found one skeleton. Okay. And that was the end of that particular season. So they removed that skeleton and they took out. And then what happened is, next year when they went there, next to that, they found at the same depth and other thing, 2 more skeletons.
Oh, okay.
So now the problem is we do not have the exact, recording of it. So now we have to make sense of what these 2 burials are or related to that.
Oh,
Okay. And one more interesting is like one was male, one was a female, and one was a child.
Oh, okay.
So if you see considerably, can we say something about whether it's a kind of a family? Again, I'm not family in today's concept, but can we call it as a one unit? Can we call it as a separate burial activity? So all those things are very interesting. Similarly, in some of the urn burials, we find 2 individuals buried together.
Oh, okay.
And one is a male, one is a female. So it becomes difficult to excavate these kind of burials.
I see. Okay.
Because they're all mixed. They're all mixed to the certain extent that we really have to struggle to separate the individuals.
I see. Okay.
Because when we go to the lab, it's not just the cleaning of the things. So first, the basic is to clean the bones because they are all full of dirt.
Right.
So it takes days to clean those bones.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you have to clean. Then you have to, if they have been broken, you have to put them together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
Again. So I like to play that jigsaw puzzle. It's like you are having the skull in fragments. So you start sticking up. Then in some time it is very frustrating. Okay. To stick because they are not fitting with each other. Like you go on like hours together and then one piece is not attaching to other. So you go on piecing together the past. Okay.
Right.
But then what happens is sometimes it starts, putting a sensor, like, start, and then it creates the complete skull.
Okay.
And that is a really amazing thing. Like, when you see that out of like 50 cranial bones, all of a sudden you are having a skull.
A skull. Yes, you have done it.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling you must be having.
Yeah, it's like achievement. It's an achievement. So it is a really interesting. So that is a frustrating as well as a very interesting job. So that is the thing, like after cleaning you mend the bones, so you kind of join the bones, then you do the measuring of the skull or measuring of the long bones. And with the long bones measurement, what we do is we try to identify the stature of the individual, like how tall that individual was. So we do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we are having formulas for that. Like if this bone is say something like 13 centimeter, what is my height on that of the? So there are calculations. So we do that. So that is. Then what is the biological age? As I told you earlier, like age. So biological age, young adult, middle adult, age, old adult, whatever the criteria is, we take and then we do that. What is the sex, whether it's a male, female. So we do not go for sexing below 16 years because sexually diagnostic portions, like we say the skull or the pelvic bone, is not completely formed. So we have to actually cannot use those criteria.
Right. Not cannot be identified.
Yes, we can say probably male, probably female, or we cannot just we leave it at that.
Okay.
But like skeletons above say 16 years, 17 years, then we try to identify the sex of that individual.
Okay.
And then even the teeth are being measured. So every tiny,
Is it?
yeah.
Okay.
So every so our teeth actually can tell us about our diet.
Yes.
So what kind of diet we are having? We are we vegetarian? Not exactly vegetarian, but are we using how we are using our teeth? Either we are using our teeth for grinding these plants or grinding the meat.
Animal meat, yeah.
Yeah, animal meat.
Right.
So there are something called as a microwear analysis. Okay, so the wear and tear of the enamel, that is white what you are seeing. So how that tear, there are markers there. So you can tell something about whether how the markings are on the basis of whether they were eating plant-based diet or non-vegetarian based diet. So many things can be done on the skeleton if they are being given to us in a proper way.
Yeah, right. So it's not only about skeletons, like we discussed, it's about the socio and cultural aspects also are tied along with that. But this is the lab work, am I right?
Yes.
That goes on in the laboratory, right?
Yes.
Measurements and diagnostics and all those
so
things.
once they send to us, we start working on the skeleton.
Okay.
So that is the lab entire work, and whatever is possible, the primary data collection has to be done. So before sending the samples for further more scientific or more what do you need, a more technical expertise is needed. For example, ancient DNA or say isotope analysis or say trace element analysis, other thing. So all those things we need to take out the samples. So the samples needs to be taken out. So for that we need to see which sample can be fitted for what analysis.
Okay.
So that then we do the radiograph as well.
I see.
Skeletal X-rays has to be taken. Like for example, as I told you, like infections or to understand the trauma, how the trauma has been healed. So for that matter, we need an X-ray. So the X-ray is required, radiograph is required. So we have to tie up with some radiologist who can help us to conduct the X-rays and other thing. And ancient DNA also we have to tie up with the ancient DNA laboratories where we have to send the samples there to study those remains. Like ancient DNA is mainly to identify, say, population affinities. Means a population A, how it is related to population B. Okay, very recent example is in the human evolution, which is very interesting for us, is the Neanderthal DNA. Okay. So Neanderthal DNA. So earlier it was thought that the Neanderthal became extinct because of this modern population which came, anatomically modern population. But some 2 years back, there was a study which said that Neanderthal DNA is still present in today's present European population.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it shows that there was an interbreed between the Neanderthals and the anatomically modern Homo sapien.
My God.
So that could be only possible via DNA studies. Earlier they thought that with the skeletal studies there could be some kind of admixture, but that admixture, when it happened and how it happened, was kind of required to be answered. So that one, or something like a Denisovans. So the Denisovans DNA is also found in Papua New Guinea. So that is also an ancient population.
Okay.
Contemporary with the Neanderthal, something around 40,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. So their DNA also been found in the today's population. So means there is a interbreeding which can be said. The Roopkund in Indian context, ancient DNA, it's not a very successful attempt because of the kind of climatic conditions what we are having.
Right.
We do not have the good preservation of DNA. So our DNA studies are only found till medieval time.
I see.
Medieval or Roopkund is, for example, we did the Roopkund skeleton. We tried to do the DNA analysis, which was a successful attempt.
Oh, nice.
And there we could identify 3 different population. One is a local population, one is a Eastern Mediterranean, which was very interesting, and one was from the Southeast Asia. So there is some population which came from some other place. So other than the local population, there was one which came via Mediterranean region and one from the Southeast. One more very interesting study is what we did on Sanjan. There is one site called Sanjan in near Gujarat and Maharashtra border. That is a Parsi Yogma.
Oh, okay.
Yogma is, you are aware of it? What is Yogma?
No, can you please tell us?
Yeah, so Yogma is the mortuary practice of the architecture of Parsis.
Okay.
So Tower of Silence, basically.
Yeah, okay.
So the Tower of Silence. So it was very good of this World Zoroastrian Society. They actually allowed to excavate the Parsi Yogma, which dated around 900 AD. So we had the opportunity to excavate that, and then that is the only population in India right now, skeletal population, which where it can be possibly said that this particular bones, every bone which is entered in that Yogma belongs to one group called Parsis.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay. So we excavated that because in archaeological excavation we don't know which population we are dealing.
Correct.
But here we can identify these belongs to Parsis. So the Parsis, so we studied that. It was a really interesting site, and we did the DNA analysis. So if you are aware of it, Parsis are very endogamous group. Like, they don't marry outside their group.
Right.
Okay. But interestingly, while DNA analysis, what it came to that they have an admixture with the local population, mainly with the females.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, and they know the Parsis who funded us, we shared their this data with them because it was a very explosive for them.
Right.
So, but they actually agreed and gave us the consent. Okay, we do not have problem to publish this this information because it's a scientific study. It is a scientific analysis. So through that also we could identify these. So ancient DNA in certain ways are very helpful to understand these population affinities, to population admixtures,
right,
and other things.
Yeah, I mean this is such not only interesting, but it provides an insight into so many things, right?
Yes, yes.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's the thing is like how you are if you are given a chance and if you are given a material to study, many things can be possible to study.
Right. It's how you look at the site or the skeletons, yes, I should say, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, and finally, looking ahead, what does the future of anthropology and I'll take this again, huh? आता हा शेवटचा आहे प्रश्न. आय थिंक झाली आहे आता 50 मिनिटं वेळ झाली. ओके ओके हां करते सुरू. So finally, looking ahead, what does the future of anthropology and archaeology look like in India and also globally? And what should young researchers or curious minds keep in mind? So we would need your guidance here.
Okay, so when we think about anthropology, or what I do is a skeletal anthropology, for archaeology is there is enough scope actually. A lot of technological advancements are going on. Lot of new techniques are going on. For example, I tell you that about ancient DNA. When the first time the DNA started, ancient DNA in India, in world context we are much back actually, backside. Okay.
We are lagging
behind. But in Indian context, if you see that in 1990s when they first tried ancient DNA, that time it was a complete failure.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But if you see today's context, it's growing. The technology of ancient DNA is growing, and as well as how we have to collect the samples, it is growing. So it is growing. So it will grow. In future, it will grow. It will have some impact. It will have some understanding, more understanding. Not just the ancient DNA. I told you about isotope analysis. Isotope analysis is very interesting new field. In archaeology, again in India, because isotope analysis has been it's been carried out by world context some 20-30 years back. Now we are coming in that particular context. So we are trying to identify the early age migrations through the isotope analysis. So these are there are certain enamel studies which can help us to understand the weaning age. Weaning age means when the baby changes his diet, his or her diet, from mother's breast milk to solid food.
Oh, is it?
Okay. So the weaning age, we say in our, there is a sanskara, no, one like first meal or first solid food of a. So when that has to has taken place, because it has its implications on the health, because breast milk, when the control is with the mother and there is a the food is been given to the child directly, but when you start eating the solid food outside the mother's milk, then you are exposed tremendously to the infections. Because how you are preparing the food, how you are making that child eat, what kind of whether the hygienic conditions are being followed or not followed, other thing. So what are, like you have seen the children, they don't eat immediately, so the food is been kept, prepared and kept, then the 2 spoons you are been fed, then you keep this food again, then you, so all those things. So these are not a very small thing, these are has a lot of implications on health. So weaning age, try to identify the weaning age and then relate that to the infant mortality or the mortality rate in the child. Okay, so these are again going on again, and these, so trying to identify these different stages of child growth and nutrition. So that is a very interesting area to explore. Other than that, different occupations have a different what manifestation on our skeleton. For example, if you know now, if we work today on computers continuously, so our neck is very stiff, it becomes very stiff, it's so if you see the different patterns during the Mesolithic or hunter-gatherers to say early agro-pastoral communities, how we use the skeleton, it's actually impact. Like if you are say carrying a lot of load on your back, so the vertebrae they get damaged because of that. Your shoulder gets damaged because of that. So what are the implications, or what are the changes, skeletal changes happens because of the different occupations, or whatever. So we need to identify these, we need to understand this. Recently we have encountered there is some pathology which is on our pelvic bone, which when we sit on the vertical tough surface, like rough surface. So if that is a very rough surface, the pelvis can create a kind of a different morphology. So all those things, so how we can identify all those things is very interesting. So definitely this needs to be documented, and Indian context we lack these kind of projects, because Even though there are a lot of skeletons, we do not have a proper students who are working continuously on this, because there is no job opportunity for that. So if we do not have jobs, we cannot even tell them to stick around and study the skeleton. So it's again related to our economy.
Right. I hope the job givers and job seekers are listening to this, and I hope they benefit from this.
Yes.
Right. And I hope young researchers, they take initiative and they do something about it, because skeletons are talking a lot about the lifestyle also.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's very interesting. So, the curious minds will definitely, I think, reach out to you maybe.
Yes, I think they should.
They should, yes, certainly. So great, this was a lovely discussion, and I think we can go on for hours, because there is so much work you have done, so many sites you have excavated and worked upon the skeletons. But I think there is a time limit for us today. So thank you for joining us, and thank you everyone for joining us on this episode, and see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay, thank you.
Okay.